Live from New York. It's a show that's on the fence about e-bikes, to be honest with you.
I like them, but I do not think they should be allowed to be used in bike lanes.
Well,
I think that's a good point.
They're going 30 miles an hour.
These bike lanes are dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way every day I turn into my garage to park, I have to watch out.
Well, yeah.
And people are honking at me like, you got the light, go. And I'm like, hold on, there's bikers coming. I'd run this dude over. It's dangerous.
We should all be on a bike team together.
I would crush that. You would be great at it too, don't get me wrong.
I'll stick to basketball.
You're not playing basketball. You haven't played basketball in years, you said.
I haven't biked in decades.
Fallout from Belichick's Hall of Fame shutout. Vahe Gregorian writing in the Kansas City Star that he hoped the voting system would change moving forward, but that he excluded Belichick because, quote, he felt duty-bound to vote for the richly deserving seniors who most likely won't ever have a hearing again. Belichick is inevitable soon. Brou, were you okay with this rationale?
No, 1,000 times no. All right? There's only one rationale, and a lot of people disagree with that.
Yeah.
And like I said yesterday, I would have voted for Belichick. But for people that will say or said in the meeting, I'm not going to make him first ballot because of Spygate and the cheating, I respect that because he did cheat. You know, some people could say, you know, you've heard coaches say everybody was doing it. Why is they're the only ones that lost the draft pick? Sure. They're the only ones that got fined. So for that, that's fine. There is no other plausible or rational reason for not putting Bill Belichick with 6 Super Bowl wins into the Hall of Fame. I guess here's the only case. If he were in a class and you could only pick 5 of them, and it was like Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Montana, and Jim Brown, and Bill Belichick, and you had to leave one out. Maybe you leave the coach out because you give the nod to the players. But outside of something crazy like that, there's no way. And here's the thing, too, because he wrote about L.C. Greenwood, Roger Craig, and Ken Anderson. All were great players in their day. He wrote that they were, in his mind, they unequivocally belonged in Canton, in the Hall of Fame. That how?
Correct.
To be in the senior committee or a candidate on the senior committee, you had to be passed over for 20 years. 20 years. You're eligible after your 5th year of retirement, and then you're eligible to be elected up until your 25th year from retirement. Then, if you're not in by then, you go to the senior committee. My thing would be, if you've been passed over 20 times, you were very good, but you're probably not a Hall of Fame. 20 times?
20 times seems like a lot.
So it doesn't hold water with me, his rationale. So no, it doesn't. I don't agree with it.
I don't want to dismiss the relevance or the importance of the senior committee and senior committee enshrinees, because there have been instances, most notably last year, where I did think the senior committee righted a wrong. I really liked, and I think you probably did too, that Sterling Sharp got in. I was like, you know what? I think so I am not going to act as if every single person that is passed over those 20 years, that means every single one of them doesn't deserve another look. But I agree with every single thing Chris Broussard said. And I like Vahe, and I know he takes this responsibility very seriously because he inherited it from the great writer Terez Paylor, who died suddenly and very young. He was the Kansas City-based voter. Vahe got it. So people are entitled to their opinions, and this is my opinion about his opinion. But this is the rationale I am least okay with. I am, because Hall of Fames are not about making people feel good.
Right.
Hall of Fames are not about, man, it would be so nice for his family. They're not. Because if they become that, then they lose the resonance they have for true blue Hall of Famers. And his rationale, and I went through the history of it, is correct in this regard. Everyone that's been a senior committee nominee and then not made it,
right,
they're done. Nobody has been a multi-time senior. Like Eli Manning is
one time.
Now looks like he's going to be a multi-time finalist who doesn't make it. He'll be a finalist multiple times. Maybe will or won't make it. But in the regular course of events, guys become finalists, don't make it. They're finalists again the next year. They don't make it. Senior committee, that has not happened. That when guys have become finalists and not gotten over it, that really is the end for them, at least. So I understood his concern that any of these three guys that don't get in now, almost officially, will never get in. Well, that's okay with me. Because if you were not holding Belichick out due to what you thought was a penalty for the cheating, he has to get one of those spots. And I'm big on, unintended consequences and knock-on effects. Here's the other thing we now know. When we're talking about people deserving to get in, not deserving to get in, under the current system, KW, there is only one coach finalist a year. Mm-hmm. So if you are Mike Shanahan, or Tom Coughlin, or if Mike Tomlin makes it clear, like, no, I'm really done coaching, or Mike Holmgren or whomever people think maybe
they're getting pushed.
Well, I feel like we know with certainty next year's coaching finalist will be Bill Belichick. And so all those guys now wait an additional year if they do at some point get in. Hall of Fames are supposed to be hard to get into.
Yeah.
And so this is the rationale that rubbed me the most wrong of all the possible rationales, unless someone's like, you know what? I didn't like him. That would be outrageous. If it was just, I didn't care about the cheating. He deserved to get in, but I thought he was rude to reporters. But I don't think anybody's going to have that rationale.
But Vahe didn't necessarily know that he wasn't getting in. That's why I'm moderate. I really want Bill Belichick in, obviously, but I was okay reading his rationale. I wonder if it would change where it's like, hey, you're the deciding vote.
But I would hope so. I've always said that because we know only Mariano Rivera he's the only unanimous guy in the Major League Baseball, right? Mm-hmm. And so obviously, and that was just a few years ago, obviously when it came to Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, whoever, someone said, nobody's ever 100% in baseball, so I'm not going to vote for him.
Yes.
What if several people did that? I've always thought, what if too many people did that, thinking, of course, he's going to get in, and then he doesn't? That's ridiculous. So you can't have that approach. It should just be, is he a Hall of Famer or not?
I mean, listen, there is an argument that should be made, that could be made, that the way to ensure people vote who they truly believe the class should be is if you add 50 voters, you all write down 3 names, and we're not counting the votes. We're picking one of these ballots at random. I'm not advocating for that, but what I'm saying is there are a lot of ways people try to, kind of work around the system here, because what you're implying there is that Vahe or anyone who did, and I don't want to pick on him because he actually, put his name to it and did what we asked people to do. I assume there were other people that might have had the same rationale, right? Mm-hmm. Did those people vote for the 3 people they actually wanted to be in, or did they want to not have any culpability for any of those 3 not getting in? Because the other thing about this that I hope people understand, and this is just the math of it, there are 50 voters. They all submit 3 names. So there are 150 total names. If you need 40 votes to get in, if everyone gets the minimum needed, that's 120, which ensures 3 maximum ever can get in, just mathematically, with this process. So when you vote for those 3, what that should be saying is, these are the 3 that I think should be in this year. And it didn't feel like that's necessarily the case in this circumstance, which is why I didn't love this rationale.
He also said Belichick will be there next year or something to that effect. So that would make you think he thought, he may not get in, But that, to me, though, that rationale of Belichick will be here next year, it goes against what you were saying. Like, he's thinking, oh, he's probably getting in anyway.
Yeah.
His thinking was, he's going to be here next year. I can vote for him then. That means you don't understand. I feel like you don't understand the importance of a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, that means something. Yeah. I get it, they're all Hall of Famers, but all the people that are ranting and raving about and upset about Belichick, none of them think, I don't believe, he's not going to ever get in the Hall of Fame. They're just saying, how in the world is he not a first ballot Hall of Famer? So to have a voter who thinks, there's really no difference between first ballot and third ballot or second, or whatever, I would question your understanding of the importance of it.
Just quick pop quiz. Answer in 3 seconds. Where's your favorite place to go on vacation?
Italy.
Okay, that's it. That's the real answer. His favorite place to go on vacation is Italy. If I was like, hey, I want you to come up with a solution tomorrow, I'm going to ask you what's your favorite place to go on vacation. You're like, man, I like Italy. I do like Vegas. Yeah. Gee whiz.
Oh, Vegas. I want to retract
we went to Australia. No, actually, like that. No, you're actually.
I was trying
There's
to
a point where everybody is overthinking this. Bill Belichick's there, done. Bill Belichick. Okay, what? I'm moving on with my day.
Well, that is.
If you're doing all this stuff, it's almost like replay. Look at it. Was that a catch? I got 5 seconds.
That was a catch. Say.
I don't disagree.
If you're not automatically a Hall of Famer in your mind, you're never.
That's
then
right.
there would be no senior committee. I get what you said about Sterling Sharp, but for the most part, you've been overlooked 20 years.
Well, that is.
It's not for everybody.
Josh, right. It's not for everybody.
You're a very good player.
And Josh, fact-checked me on if I have the person right. But there is a famous story about, because, everyone has their own presenter. Like, there is one person in charge of, John McClain from the Houston Chronicle would present for Andre Johnson every year, like advocate for him. And I believe the player in this story is Jim Brown. That Jim Brown's presenter for the Hall of Fame got up, said, Jim Brown, and sat back down.
That's awesome.
And I'm pretty sure and it was that everyone knew he's in. I don't have to make a case for it. For Belichick, that obviously is the case, barring these odd other things that I thought it had to just be the cheating scandals, and now evidently there's another rationale which does feel weird to me.
All right, Cardinals and Raiders still looking for a head coach hire. Looking to hit a home run like the following guys. Bill Barnwell made a list of the top 5. Well, actually, he listed more than 5, but we're only going to talk about the top 5. Best recent head coach hires. His list goes like this. Dan Campbell at 1. Sirianni, with his 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win, at 2. McDonald, Vrabel, D'Amico Ryans, Sean Payton, Kevin O'Connell. Wow. Ben Johnson, Harbaugh, and Dan Quinn. Rounding out the top 10. Do you have any issues with this list? Like it, love it?
Oh, I have one major issue, but first I would like to say this. Because what he did was he listed every single hire the previous 5 cycles. And there were 37. 37 hires, 21 through 25. And just for everyone that is super optimistic about their brand new head coach, just for some context there, Bill Barnwell, who I think is really, really sharp, has Robert Saleh as the 14th best hire. There are 23 hires worse than that. Had Brian J.
The best with the Jets?
The Jets,
yeah, that's what I'm
saying. So he's blaming it all on the Jets organization.
No. What I'm saying is we forget how many disaster hires there were. Brian Dable was an above-average hire for the Giants over the last 5 years from Barnwell's list, because you forget, you're like, wait, the Raiders have had 3 head coaches.
Yeah.
Like, there were 10 hires worse than Gerard Mayo, who was one and done with the Pats. So there's just so many more unsuccessful hires than successful hires. Right. Just a level set. But my issue is with what used to be Wilds' guy, but I think Wilds has foisted him on Brou, and I think Brou unwittingly has maybe accepted it. Nick Sirianni being number 2.
No man.
Because I would definitively rather have and think better hires were. Dan Campbell was ahead of him. I like Mike Vrabel. I think that's working out.
Sure.
I like Mike McDonald. I think that's working out. D'Amico, Sean Payton, Ben Johnson, Jim Harbaugh. And I will, in my heart of hearts, I would say Liam Cohen and Kevin O'Connell, but Kevin O'Connell's been there and hasn't won playoff games, and Liam Cohen, the resume is so thin, I won't do it. But those other 8 guys are better hires, and I think their team's happier with them, their ownership's happier with them, their players might be happier with them. I think Nick Sirianni, and even in his write-up for it, he's like, this is a tough one because he has won a Super Bowl, and he also seems to be reviled in corners of his own fan base and maybe organization. So I do not think Nick Sirianni is the second best coaching hire of the last 5 years. I don't think.
Look, I agree with you in the 8 guys you named, Campbell, Jim Harbaugh, so on and so forth, Sean Payton. I feel like those guys are all better coaches than Sirianni. I feel that way. And if I were starting a team, I'd look at them before him. But that's subjective. That's subjective. Objectively speaking,
There you go.
Sirianni there's one thing, I'll give you 2. 2 things that determine whether or not a coach is good. 2 objective things. 1, he wins. If I have a team full of all-stars and I roll out the ball and they win, guess what? I'm a great coach.
Correct.
Because some coaches would overcoach them. No, LeBron, get over here, pass the ball. No, let them play. They're good enough. They're coaches that overcoach, all right, and get in the way of talent. All right. So number 1, he does win. Here, look at this graphic. Yeah. Best win percentage.
I told you. Let him have him.
In the Super. But no, look at this though.
I know.
He's 3rd. He's ahead of Belichick and Andy Reid and Bill Parcells and all these other great coaches, okay? So he has one. There's another one, too. Only a handful of coaches have ever made the playoffs their first 5 seasons.
Yeah.
He's one of them. There's 5. I mean, and here's the thing. They were 4-11-1 the year before he got there. And you can scoff at it,
I'm not scoffing,
but in that first year.
2 years before they won the Super Bowl.
So what? Okay. That coach got fired, and they didn't have Saquon Barkley.
No, you're right.
They didn't have A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts most people thought he's not a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
So the second thing I was going to say, player development. You win first, but you also develop players. Saquon Barkley had his best season under who? He didn't get anywhere near 2,000 yards without Sirianni. A.J. Brown, for all the scoffing, he's had his 3 best seasons under who? And he played 3 years in Tennessee. 3 best seasons under Sirianni. You know, and there's other ones. Jalen Hurts, he developed him. Zach Bond was not viewed as anything.
Not Vic Fangio credit for Zach Bond.
Who's the head coach?
But Vic Fangio
Yes, of course,
him.
the defensive coordinators, the offensive coordinators get some credit, but the head coach gets the blame and he gets the credit. So I get you might not like, as you would say, the cut of his jib, all right? But the dude wins. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Philadelphia as a franchise had been to 2 Super Bowls in the 40 years before Sirianni. He went to 2 in his first 4 years.
So can I?
They had won 1 Super Bowl in 54 years before Sirianni. He won 1 in year 4. I'm just saying, I want a coach that wins. I don't care if I think he's, subjectively, he does this, he does that. Dan Campbell just missed the playoffs.
Can I just ask one quick question, just in general?
Very good.
Do we agree, for the most part, the 4 most important people with an organization, not in order, just the foremost, are the owner, the general manager, the head coach, and the quarterback? That as far as individuals, those people have the most impact for a football team's success. Is it not possible that there are some incredibly successful organizations that one of those in one of those positions, that guy is coasting off the others? That's my question. That is, if the Eagles have great ownership that spins in a way no one else really does, a GM that has been excellent and has won a Super Bowl without Sirianni, a quarterback who you adore and talks about all of the intangible things he's done, and he had those qualities in college. Like, does an organization being great mean they automatically have great coach, quarterback, GM, and owner, or in some instances is one of those guys coasting off the others.
How's he coasting when they won 4 games before he got there? With the same GM, same quarterback, same owner.
Because he
was the difference.
So that's where you focus on the 1 year before he got there as opposed to the 3 years before he got there. They had a down season, but that was a team
That's a heck of a
that
down
was good
season.
enough to win a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback 2 years prior, and the year before that won a playoff game with a backup quarterback. So it wasn't like a woebegone organization. It was a pretty well-run, tight organization that had recently won a Super Bowl and then had a disaster year, which I'm not saying he doesn't deserve any credit for that, but like, you understand what I mean? Like, is every owner, GM, head coach, and quarterback of every great team great? Or do some of them have somebody in the mix there that's not great, but he's right place, right time?
But every reason you think he's not great, it's the same for me. If I have questions about him, it's subjective. There's what is the objective view? Do you win? Do you develop players?
You know, it's not like we've seen coaches make errors in personnel. We've seen him make
McVay, Peyton just this weekend.
Yeah, timeout errors.
Yeah, I don't think he's
errors.
great at game management.
He's not bad. He's lost games for them. I'm like, hey, you did this wrong.
I think absolutely some of the stuff, and I think that
we've seen that with
of course,
all the other
but
I've seen him covered in Gatorade too. It's hard to
I
argue.
saw Doug Peterson covered in Gatorade for the same franchise. For the same franchise.
I'm not sure Peterson's not a good coach, but
a lot of Super Bowl coaches get fired eventually. Everyone's getting fired eventually.
Doug Peterson got fired 2 years after winning a Super Bowl for the same franchise. Nick Sirianni is going to get fired 2 years after winning the Super Bowl. They can't fill their offensive coordinator spot. Nobody. Here's the thing. We can argue all this. There is not a person alive who would rather have Nick Sirianni than DeMeco Ryans or Sean Payton or Mike McDonald or Mike Vrabel. Even you guys.
The owner reportedly likes Sirianni. Lurie.
I feel very confident that
my issue is this, and it comes down. This is a lot of like the challenge of like when I talk about Sam Darnold. What do you want him to do? Like if you're like, man, Nick, if he called you, he came in, he's like, Nick, I heard your criticism of me. Yeah, what do you want me to do? Because I've gone to 2 Super Bowls, I've made the playoffs. What do you think I should do?
So I think that the answer there's multi-layered. One is figure out why every other year your team is in some every other year
in the playoffs?
No, some bizarre.
What was bizarre this year?
Brou.
This year, what was bizarre? They had the supernatural funk a few years ago. What was bizarre this year?
You think everything with Philly this year was normal?
I think A.J. Brown, you got a receiver, a diva wide receiver, which a lot of teams have, that runs his mouth. Outside of that, what was the issue?
I mean, he's an offensive-minded coach with the most expensive offense in the history of the NFL who went 3 and out more than any team in the league.
Just because it's expensive doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. We think the players are good. I think the players are good. I think they woefully underachieved offensively this year. I didn't even think that was in dispute.
I mean, that's not.
I think that's fair, but there's I saw a lot of other great teams not make the playoffs.
Well, yeah, Dan Campbell. Why didn't they make the playoffs?
And I think there is again.
He got great players.
But so this is.
I'm just saying. I want something objective.
But this is right. I understand there are objective ways we can measure guys. But we are here giving our opinion. And I think, and what's frustrating on this side of the table right now is, I think everything I'm saying here is an opinion you guys actually share. That those 7 coaches I listed, you also would rather have coach your team. That those 7 guys I listed, for reasons maybe you can't quite define why you think DeMeco Ryans is a better pro football coach than Nick Sirianni, but you agree with me. And so
I'd rather have a guy that wins.
So Brou, if the Ravens this offseason, if Sirianni and DeMeco were both available, you would have been on here saying, I hope they hire Nick Sirianni over DeMeco Ryans. I don't think that.
But again, that still is subjective.
Yes, it's my subjective opinion.
Okay, but I'm saying, I'm being objective and saying he wins. I know some of the things you don't like about him are that he yells at the fans, after a big win.
But I think that's
whatever. Buddy Ryan was a person. There's a lot of coaches that have these outgoing, crazy personalities, but if they win, they win.
So, yes, he has won. He has won.
And it hasn't been handed to him. When he took over, they were like a 9th best rushing offense in the league. He took them immediately his first year to the #1 rushing offense in the league without Saquon Barkley, with Miles Sanders and guys like that. Like, I hear what you're saying, and I agree that I like all those guys better, but that doesn't mean they're better coaches. I can't say Sirianni wasn't a great hire for Philadelphia when he took them from 4 wins to 2 Super Bowl appearances.
It has been an objectively successful hire. I also think there were 8 or 9 names on that list who are better coaches. Doesn't even mean they would have been better in Philadelphia. I just think they're better coaches.
Bo Nix had surgery on his ankle, and we got an update, maybe too much of an update from Sean Payton, who said, Bo breaking his ankle was not a matter of if, but when. And Bo didn't appreciate his coach's candor. Kind of strange.
Listen, I know I'm the wrong messenger for this. No one in the media was more wrong about the Broncos this year than me, and I have been a unintentional Denver sports pessimist dating back to it being the last one on the Jokic train. So I get nobody wants to hear this from me, but this is a weird 96 hours from a team that had, by any objective measure, a wildly successful season that ended when it did. One of the only ways you can lose a home conference championship game, and if you handle the PR right, nobody's mad at anybody.
Yeah.
Got unlucky. What do you want us to? Our quarterback broke his ankle on the second to last play of the divisional round game, and we were right there. And you know what? If not for a snowstorm and a tipped field goal, might have stolen it. Instead, Sean Payton fired 3 coaches, including his offensive coordinator, who attributes his firing to, and I quote, Sean was in one of his moods.
That was strange.
And then Bo Nix calls his own press conference. The team didn't set this up. Bo Nix calls his own press conference to correct what he considers misinformation, not from the dark web or AI or bots, but from his head coach. That ain't great. And so it's not nothing that all of a sudden it really sounds like Sean, the quarterback of the Broncos, is upset with the head coach of the Broncos. That's something, and it's something weird.
Yeah, it's definitely something. And it's strange because typically from the top down, meaning, execs, coaches to the players, it's need to know basis.
Yeah.
Not I'm going to offer just information just because I want to fill you guys in on all the nuts and bolts and the crannies of it all. No, that's not how it works. So I understand, and I'm with Bo on trying to defend this idea of there was something lingering or
underlying. It was a ticking time bomb.
Like, no, because that almost insinuates to a player who, number one, during the process of going to Indy, going through the entire combine process, all of this is knowledge to every team. They have all this information on your medical history. So you're trying to defeat the odds of this idea of, are you injury prone? Do you always have issues with your ankles? Like, do you think there's going to be something moving? He was probably asked this stuff every day in Indy. And then to have your head coach offer all this information when you as a head coach typically tell us as players, specifically don't speak on anybody else's injury. Don't speak on anybody. Even if you feel like you have an idea, let that be up to the training staff and or that specific player. Bo, he mentioned he's upstairs, he's doing good. Leave it at that. He had the injury, he's recovering, he wants to be here for off-season program. That's all we care about. Like, period. He's in a position where he's trying to defend himself because he knows contracts coming up.
Yes.
I don't want to be labeled as somebody that is an injury risk.
Correct.
So, but you as my head coach, you're putting this out there as if this is possibly something that I'm going to have to be concerned about, and everyone should know that just in case. I mean, this is something that we're going to be circling moving forward. It's unfair to Bo.
I'm glad you mentioned contract because that's kind of one of the only explanations for Sean Payton saying this. I mean, you said it. Usually you're not giving out this type of information. Now, I do think he's correct. Bo has had several ankle injuries and surgeries. He had surgery after last season. He broke his ankle in college. He broke it in high school. He had surgery after last season when he didn't really get injured. This year, obviously, injury and surgery. But to me, the only reason for Payton to put that out there is almost to be like, to lower his value. Not that they don't want to keep him, but to lower his market value. So let's say when it's time to re-up him, they don't want to give him $50 million or $60 million.
That was going through Sean Payton's head?
I don't understand. I can't think of another reason. It's bizarre, but I can't think of another reason a coach would say this unless you want to lower.
Because Sean Payton likes to talk. He likes to hear himself
He likes to talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
He does.
I'm with Greg in that. I don't understand why you would say that. I think he's right, but you don't even need to give out that information.
And Nick's, by the way, is not even allowed to get a contract for another year.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right,
and I know you know that, just for the audience. It is, and if you even remember, Sean Payton, when he did the impromptu press conference after the divisional round game and told everyone, held the second press conference about Bo's ankle being broken, he said, like as an aside, he's like, yeah, Bo mentioned to me. He's like, oh, that's the one I've had surgeries on. And I said to him, oh, man, I wish you'd have told me that. I wouldn't have drafted you. And we laughed. Like, Sean Payton's weird about the stuff he says publicly and on the record. Yeah. It's just weird. It sounds. He is out of the mainstream from how other head coaches do it. And this is a story only because he pissed his quarterback off.
Yeah.
The only way to read it is the quarterback's upset.
You know, I've got a take that you're going to hear tomorrow. You're now retreating to No Bull Zone, sponsored by Credible. Great rates, none of the bull. Patriots didn't practice yesterday, and they said if they did, Drake Maye wouldn't have been a full go. This is video from today. He's got a football in his hand. Is he going to throw it? Nope. The media didn't see him throw a pass, but this has become a bit of a story, although Mike Vrabel says that he doesn't have much of a concern at all. Is that the official? I want to get it right, Hub. So you say he's not concerned at all? Stand by. No concern.
No concern.
Okay. That being said, do you think the Patriots can beat the Seahawks if he's not 100%? Although we don't know if he's not going to be 100%. He might be 100%.
I'll never say never. We've seen strange things happen in the Super Bowl. I would not have thought Nick Foles would beat Tom Brady, or Eli Manning would beat Tom Brady twice, or a first-year starter Tom Brady would beat Kurt Warner. So the Super Bowl, you don't know.
Seems like maybe we just don't know Super Bowls involving Tom Brady. All
But I think the chances are very slim that they could beat Seattle without Drake Maye at his best, because I think he's going to need to play really well. I think they're going to have to put up points. I get they've only allowed about 9 points a game in the playoffs, but those were mediocre to the Chargers, really a relatively poor offense, they're by their numbers, 21 points a game. Seattle's third highest scoring team in the league, 28 a game. And in the playoffs, they've averaged 36 against two playoff teams. So I think that Seattle, I'm not saying they're going to light the Patriots defense up, but they're going to put some points on the board. And so Drake is going to have to produce some points and be close to his best for them to win.
So he can not be 100%, but he can't not play good to great football.
Correct.
I don't care if he's not 100%. What matters is how you look when you're not 100%. Now we can if it was his shoulder that has caused him to have the dip in performance in the postseason, we dismiss it, especially last week because of the weather. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know what? That was a sloppy game, muddy game, snowy game. You're going to run the ball anyway. We don't really want you throwing the ball. Okay, we'll throw that out. In this game, to your point, this Seattle team can put up points. If we don't see a resemblance of Drake Maye that we've seen be able to counterpunch by getting the ball down the field, being accurate with the ball, then we're going to start to really question, man, his shoulder really must be injured. So Can they win with him not being 100%? Yes. He just has to be good. Brett told me this when I first got into the National Football League. If you're a great player and you get injured, it's best to have you on the field and available if and only if your 80% is better than most people's 100%. If that's what we get out of, if that's what we see out of Drake Maye, they'll be fine.
Yes, I'm going to echo what Greg said, maybe slightly differently. I do not think the Patriots can win this game without an A- or better Drake Maye game.
Oh.
So, like,
Why? You think you are that confident in Seattle's offense?
I think Seattle is the best team in the NFL. All year long, I was saying it was the Rams, and I thought the Rams, were this close. But they beat the Rams twice. They beat them, fair and square. And Seattle's resume was more impressive than the Rams by a tick. And so I think Seattle is considerably better than any of the teams you guys have played up to this point in the playoffs. And I think you guys have not been yourselves up to this point in the playoffs because you have a quarterback who all year long was a top 2 MVP candidate on the merits, who has not played well. And who really gives a damn he hasn't played well? You're in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
But I do not see any scenario where Drake Maye plays the type of game he has played the first 3 rounds, and you guys beat this Seahawks team on a neutral field. That I don't think that is realistic. Especially now that I've kind of removed Darnold going full pumpkin from the possibilities. Like, it would have been possible if I'm like that Darnold's going to go do what CJ did against you guys, but I don't think that's going to happen.
But you think the Seahawks are scoring over 20 points?
Over 20?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.